Welcome back to Red and Blue. I'm Major Garrett. Senators received a classified briefing on China today amid new revelations about the spy balloon shot down earlier this month. CBS News has learned U.S. intelligence officials tracked that balloon from liftoff in mainland China. Lawmakers from both parties have called on the Biden administration for more transparency about that balloon and 3 other aerial objects recently shot down. CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion joins us now. Nikole, I want to play for you some sound from earlier today from Montana Democratic Senator Jon Tester. We are told that the White House is considering a speech from the president on this topic, and Senator Tester was asked if that was a good idea. Let's you and I both listen.
I think that's up to the president. I think that there's more information out there to be gathered. And when that information is gathered to a point, he'll address it. But I think it's important that we deal with facts and what that balloon was doing and the kind of information it was potentially getting. And so that's going to take a little bit of time. You know, would it hurt for him to go on TV and make a speech to the people? That never hurts.
Nikole, it sounds to me like a Democrat nudging the president to say more. Is that what you're hearing?
Well, that's certainly been what we've heard from a number of lawmakers throughout the week. As you know, there wasn't just this hearing today with respect to China, but there was also one yesterday specifically on some of these flying objects that were recently shot down following that surveillance balloon. And of course, we know senators also were briefed separately on that balloon earlier this month. So there have been a number of briefings here on Capitol Hill. And yes, many lawmakers do feel the president should say more on this issue, but they also think he should do so once we have more information, not only about the surveillance balloon, but about these objects, which, of course, officials and authorities are still gathering.
And, Nikole, is there a consensus on the Hill about how dangerous this is or isn't in terms of these aerial objects?
Well, certainly I can say coming out of this China hearing this afternoon, there was a lot of sober language. And keep in mind, this was a broader briefing about, the implications of the U.S. and China relations vis-a-vis our defense and national security and our, geopolitical posture. So this was kind of a more of a broad-ranging briefing. But many senators did walk out of there really concerned about some of the threats potentially that China may pose against the United States, not only just from a defense posture, but also from an economic and strategic posture as well, and really stressing the need for the United States to continue to be aggressive as it relates to kind of this strategic competition and this very tense relationship between the U.S. and China right now. But that being said, with respect to the balloon, and with respect to some of these objects, again, what lawmakers have said is that, at least as far as the objects are concerned, they don't think that that poses a lot of danger to the American public based on what they've heard right now. Their understanding is that, some of these items are still being retrieved. And as far as a balloon is concerned, obviously we're still learning more about the evidence that was gathered there. So lawmakers just want to make sure that the Biden administration is being as transparent as possible. So these briefings, while helpful, certainly haven't answered all of their questions.
And Nikole, briefly, the administration has said that there was sort of a gap in awareness about these aerial objects, balloons and otherwise, mostly balloons. Do lawmakers find that a credible explanation for why we are seeing more visibility and action than we did previously?
Well, it is kind of an interesting dynamic here because on one hand, one thing that I heard from many lawmakers over the last day or two with respect to these objects is that there should be a better protocol because, as you know, there were about 3 objects that were shot down following this balloon. But yet you'll recall many lawmakers said that the balloon, when that was discovered, should have been taken down sooner. So it's kind of like you can't have it both ways. And lawmakers do feel that there needs to be a better process going forward in terms of how we handle these types of encounters, because obviously there are the balloons, but there are also these unidentified flying objects that have existed for years now. And so lawmakers do want a consistent way of handling those going forward.
Nikole Killion, thank you so very much.
You bet.